And here, they accept you for being different. And it was at that moment I realized that he had found his place of acceptance. Hi, my name is Donna Robertson, and I have 4 boys. All 4 of them have unique learning challenges that we've dealt with throughout their school careers. We've had dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculus. We've had some short-term memory issues, auditory issues, as well as visual issues. So it has been quite a challenge for our family to find an education opportunity for each of them that was meeting the needs that they had. A lot of the problems that we had involved not being able to read. They would struggle with reading. Math was a terrible experience for 2 of my boys because they just couldn't perform. They just couldn't get it. Simple things like learning addition and subtraction facts, they just didn't stick. Multiplication facts didn't stick. Colors were something that my youngest son had problems with. He couldn't remember that red was red, but you could say, show me the red, and he could pick up a red, but he couldn't give you the name of it. We had them diagnosed quite young. My oldest son was diagnosed in 5th grade and with dyslexia. The other 2 middle boys were diagnosed in middle school, and that's when they began their journey into going to Leflore Christian School, which my son describes it as, Mom, it's like no other place I've ever been. They get me. He said it was so nice to have a teacher that was willing to listen and understand and allow him the opportunity to find the path that he needed to learn. He talks about both of my 2 middle boys absolutely love Pam Burns. They think she's the greatest thing that ever walked on the face of the planet. And it's because she's the only teacher they've ever had that could teach them math. And he said, Mom, you don't understand, this teacher at this school. And I'll never forget this. It was the first time he went to school there. And he'd been there about a month, and he came home. He was like, Mom, this teacher's so great. He said, you don't understand. She goes from one desk to the next desk and makes us show her that we know how to do it. And if we can't do it, we have to keep doing it till we understand it. He said, and we don't all do it the same way. And he told me the other day, he said, I think about Miss Burns a lot in my life because I come across problems and I think, what would Miss Burns do? He said, she'd find a different solution. He said, just knowing that I have the power to find a different solution to the same problem somebody else is dealing with gives me the strength and the courage to keep looking. Because before I thought I had to follow the same path because that's the way public education was. He said, Leflore Christian shows me that there's another path. It may not be the same path everybody else is on. My path looks different, but I can still get there. I just have to find a different way to get there. And to me, when he was telling me that, and then my youngest son came along, and it was, public school was just not his thing. And before this, he started going to Leflore Christian School, he would cry on the way to school. He'd cry in the line to get out of the car. He would cry when he got out of school and got in the car, and he would cry when we talked about school. I mean, it was awful. And finally, I just said, I can't take him back there. And then when he started going to Leflore Christian, it was like the world changed. He finally had a place where he felt like it was okay to be himself. And I went to have lunch with him a couple of months after he got there, and there was a young boy in his class, and he was about 3 years older than everybody else in the class. He was sitting there, and he was like, well, my mom brought me here because, my teacher said that I'm unteachable. And Jake looked at him, and this look of shock came over his face, and he looked at him, and he said, it's okay, you're just different. And the little boy said, what? Jake said, you're different. He said, that's what we say in my house, and it's good to be different. Because God made you that way. And here, they accept you for being different. And it was at that moment I realized that he had found his place of acceptance. And that's, as a mama, that's something you want your child to feel. It's hard for these kids to always feel like they're the odd man out, or they're the ones that has to have a teacher sitting beside them 24/7. They're always being made to feel less. But it doesn't happen at Leflore Christian. They are so good about integrating and accepting kids for who they are and what they can do, and being prepared to make those exceptions when they're needed and allow them to be different, as Jake said. I don't think that we could have ever functioned anywhere else. Leflore Christian is the only place that he ever wants to be, because they're the only place that understand him. Where would Jake be? I don't know. I'm scared where he would be. If we didn't have the school, I don't think he would ever get an education. And at Leflore Christian, he can be himself, and it's okay to be himself. And I think that's the unique gift that they give everybody.